Hello, I am going to teach you how to play Detective Poker. I'm playing on the BGA Studio website and I'm going to set it up for one round. So here I get to play as all the different people. Won't that be fun? Okay. So to start off with, just tell you what the setup is. You get 7 coins and 4 action cards. So you can see from the player panels over on the right exactly how many cards people have got and chips at any particular point. So you can see down here, these are forward action cards, these white cards. And this is a clockwise icon. This is +1 point action card. This is a bluff action card, and this is a nothing action card. So, and this is my selection I can have at any one turn. You can either bid 1, 2 or 3 different chips, and you can bid and use one of your action cards to make a bid, and that's what you do every single turn. You just make a bid on one person's hand. So to start with, we see this is based on Texas Hold'em poker variant. So we have 2 cards in hand each, and there'll be 5 table cards eventually to make a poker hand. But so to start with, you only get to see one of your cards, and the other players get to see your other card. So you have to imagine that this card, the back card is on my head, and I can't see it. It's got an elastic band around it, and then I hold one card in my hand. And this is the same for everybody else. So this card that I can see for this other player, this red player, this is the card on their head, and I can see it's the 10 of clubs, and they won't know what card they have on their head, but they will be seeing this card. And the same for this player, this other player. So this is on his head. I can see the 2 of spades. But he can't see that 2 of spades card, but he can see the card he is holding. So if you like, everyone else sees this card, and that's on my head, but I can see this. So we have to judge which is the best poker hand from the slightly limited information that we can see. And then when people start betting, that might give us some clues or information onto who might have the best hand, why they think they might have the best hand. So to start with, I'm looking here and I'm thinking, well, this red player has got a 10 and I've only got a 5. So it's likely some of these hidden cards, there might be a jack, queen or king, but so 10's not the greatest, so we'll only bid 1 here. And I'm going to bid my blank card, and I'm going to bid it on red. So when I bid, you can see that the bid goes down, and this is my colour. So whenever I bid on a player, so I bid on red's table, which suggests I'm bidding on his hand, and the action card and the chip relates to his hand, but all my bids will go down on this green row. And if I bid on myself, then it would go down on the green row, and if I bid on blue, it would go down on the green row. And the same for the other players. So when it's blue's turn, all of his bids are going to go down on the blue row. Okay, and so now we'll move over to the blue player and play as the blue player. So the blue player can see that he has a pretty naff hand, and you can maybe understand why the 10's been bid. So he's a bit more optimistic about the fact that he's going to be correct here. So he'll bid 2, and I'm going to put the +1 action card down on that, which means kind of increases the bid by 1. Oopsie. Right, so now we go back to red player. All the red players looking at this, thinking, no one's got nothing. What the heck is he going to do? So he's very unsure. But people have been bidding on him, so that might indicate that he has the better card. So the best he can think he can do is, I think he's going to go for a little trick and bid on clockwise. So if I bid on this player, clockwise from him is me. So the chips go down and everyone see it go down on his board. But really that clockwise action card is suggesting that that relates to here. So now after everyone's bid one in this pre-flop phase, every player has made their bid. Now we move on to the flop phase. And then 3 bids will go down, and then it'll move on to the turn phase, and then it'll move on to the river phase. Okay, I think I'm going to pause it now, and we'll come back when we've got to the river. Okay, so we'll come back, and now we're down to the last person's bid. So all 5 cards have come up. So the first time we bid, there was no table cards, and then 3 cards get added, and then we bid on the flop, and then the 4th card, the turn, gets taken up, and we will bid on the turn, and then the last river card gets turned up, and now we bid on the river. So poker is made of the best 5 cards. So when the first 3 cards showed during the flop, there are only 5 cards. There are 2 cards in our hand and these 3 cards to make up a poker hand. Initially though, when there wasn't any table cards, we were bidding on just these 2 cards, and it's quite a simple ruling is a pair will be a non-pair, if you like, so a straight. So if this was a 4 and a 4, that would be a pair of 4s, and the best pair would be the aces. So the highest with just 2 cards would be 2 aces, if you like, and the lowest of the pair would be 2 2s, and then you're going to go down to highs. So you've got an ace and a king would be the highest high, going down to a 2 and a 3. Okay, so yeah, so everyone's bid their chips and their action cards. And now we can see if we look over that, yeah, no one's got any chips left. Of their 7 that they started with, they've all come down. So if we look at the blue player, for example, we've got 3 plus 1 plus 2, which is 6, and then he ended up with 1 bid on the river. And they've used all of their action cards. So as the red player here, I just got to make my last decisive action with a blank action card, but who am I going to bid on? Still seems much of a muchness, especially in this position, and so I shall bid on myself. Okay, so now we've come to the end of the round, and it shows you the scoring. So the first thing it did was show us what the card was that we didn't get to see, and it's now shown all the action cards that everybody laid, and these red markers are how many points we got, and the log will give you full on detail of how that was all scored, because there's quite a lot happening in that situation of what the best hand was analysed. So here we go down to the 10 high was the best hand, and the 3 high was the worst hand when it was just the pre-flop. So yeah, we can see that I had the best, or this red player had the best hand with the 10 high. So if anybody bid on me like this player and this player, so blue put 2 chips down and also had the +1 card, so that's why he's given 3 points. And I'm the green player here, am I? No, I'm the red player. Okay, sorry, yeah, I'm the red player. So where I bid on clockwise, which means that I'm really bidding on myself. So this is a kind of a bluff situation, if you like. But if you like, so we all won. We all bid on my hand being the red players, this 10 high being the best card, and we're all right, so we all got points for that. Okay, and that's basically how the game works. So that totals the score. So we're playing the expert mode, which means if you put your +1 card down, so whereas red, that's green, isn't it? Green. Okay, so green's only points were these two, so it did get it right, but then got the. By the time it comes to the turn, my hand is not the correct turn. It would look like this hand because of the pair of threes. So by the time it gets to the turn, you've got to imagine the 9 not being there. You can scroll down to the log and it should verify this. So the best hand is 1 pair of threes, yes, and that's blue. And the worst hand was green. So, yes, so these bluffed on green. So the bluff card means that you've bet on the worst hand. And because green did have the worst hand, and they bid on green, they will get those points for the number of chips they put down. And green, on the other hand, bid on red thinking he had the best hand, but he didn't. So not only does he not get any points for his chips, but he also gets -1 point because he played his +1 card on the wrong player. And that is due to the expert variation, which we are playing. If it wasn't the expert variation, that would just be 0 points there. But okay, so we can see why green got 0 points. He got +1 for the pre-flop, but -1 for the turn. And if you want to show the scoring again, you can do. And we'll get a summary of how many points we got this hand, and then the total. Given this is the first hand, that's why they are the same. And this is where you acknowledge the scoring and you can move on to the next step. Okay, I think I'm going to pause the video there and come back later. Okay, so there's just a few things just come to the end of the third hand. So you can also see the status of the game is always up here. So we're in the third hand. So you play as many hands as there are players. This 3-player game. This is only a 1-round game. We'll come to the last bet of the last hand. And there's just a few more things I want to show you. So one of the things was this show action cards. So we can click that. So if you're playing a turn-based game, this would be handy. And if you can't see, you can't remember rather, the action cards that you've played, then you can simply click that button and it'll show, oh yes, I bluffed on the green player here and played the clockwise action card there and the +1 there. So that's one thing. The other thing is that some people may not play an action card, like red didn't play an action card over here, so this is where you won't see a blue background because there was no card played, and this is why he still has 1 card in his hand. And similarly for green, that's because I haven't played one yet. Right, so, and the other thing I wanted to show you was that towards the end, given you've got 7 chips and the maximum you can bid is 3, it auto increments your bid if you don't bid enough. So because this is the last hand and I've bid 5 so far, 3 + 1 + 1, I've got 2 chips left in the hand. If I stupidly only bid 1 card here, then it will increase my bid, automatically increase my bid to 2. And I'll show you that by, I've selected 1 and I bid on myself here, and it will change the 1 into a 2. Here we go, and it even tells you over here, underbid, automatically increased. And then it's gone into the scoring phase. And in the scoring we can now see how many points were gathered from this round and adds to the total. And we can see that the blue players won. So after you acknowledge, everybody acknowledges the scoring phase. should then move into the end of the game. And yeah, shows you that the blue player didn't in fact win, and the yellow points, etc, etc. Okay, well I think that's about it. Thanks for watching and enjoy your games of Detective Poker on BGA.